nasty voice. I don't really think. Don't you wanna come with me? Do you think I'm a nasty girl? Tonight I'm
Here, Alexis, to give you something you would never give me. Fair warning. How ominous.
Dear Diary, Heather told me she teaches people real life.
I thought my birthday was next week, now I find out it's Friday.
Don't call me baby. I'm not your baby.
It's like candy. I can feel it when you walk. Oh, what's love got to do? Got to do with it.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and inhale.
Hello babes, welcome back to the channel. If you are new, welcome. So in today's video we are going to be talking about the iconic 1980s fashion and the fashion revolution of the 80s. So let's get into it. Welcome to Iconically Iconic. The 1980s marked a turning point in fashion. While some trends carried over from the 70s like bell-bottoms, big hair, and disco-inspired glam, the 80s introduced a bolder, more empowered approach to style. Women were stepping into the spotlight, fighting for equal rights, and demanding to be seen and heard beyond traditional roles as wives and mothers. Women in the US couldn't open up a bank account without a male signatory until 1974. This newfound visibility was reflected in the fashion of the time, particularly through the rise of power suits. Though women's suits weren't new, they became a symbol of authority and confidence in the 80s, with sharp shoulder pads and oversized blazers becoming wardrobe staples. The 80s saw a cultural shift in how women were portrayed in film, with movies like Baby Boom, Working Girl, and a personal favorite of mine, 9 to 5, leading the charge. These films showcased women breaking barriers, becoming bosses, and building their own empires, all while confronting the harsh realities of sexism in the workplace. Despite the challenges their characters faced, these stories inspired women to aim higher and accomplish what once felt impossible. And fashion played a pivotal role in reflecting this empowerment. Women's style in these films struck a delicate balance, embracing femininity and sexiness while also commanding respect and authority. Power suits, tailored blazers, and bold silhouettes became more than just wardrobe choices. They were declarations of ambition and self-worth, showing that women navigate the professional on their own terms, looking confident, beautiful, and polished while refusing to be reduced to mere eye candy. The intersection of fashion and film helped shape the 80s as a decade of transformation, showing women everywhere that they could be seen, heard, and respected, all while still looking fabulous. The song Sisters Are Doing It For Themselves, released in 1985 as a collaboration between Eurythmics and Aretha Franklin, played a major role in embodying the spirit of women who were unapologetically taking control of their lives. It became an anthem and a cultural touchstone, encapsulating the rightful confidence of women stepping into their own. It was a testament to women's resilience, strength, and collective voice. The song became a rallying cry for the feminist movement. And this is off topic, but Gen X is often ignored or not talked about when it comes to their impact and how they helped to change and shift the culture, especially Gen X women. They fought for us as women to have a voice, and the trends that we millennials were wearing and in love with were started by Gen X women, but remixed by us, and we then created our own trends. Gen X women were trailblazers who helped to shift the culture and redefine what it meant to be a woman in a rapidly changing world. They didn't just demand a seat at the table, they built their own. From leading into boardrooms, launching businesses, and carving out space in male-dominated industries, Gen X proved that ambition and independence could coexist with femininity, strength, and resilience. The decade celebrated individuality and encouraged women to embrace personal style, whether it was preppy, glamorous, extravagant, or bold. While neon colors and athleisure are often seen as synonymous with 80s fashion, thanks to fitness icons like Jane Fonda, Richard Simmons, and Suzanne Summers with her iconic Thighmaster, fashion in the 80s was far more diverse. What you wore depended on who and what influenced you, be it Janet Jackson, Madonna, Grace Jones. One constant, however, was the widespread embrace of the shoulder pads and structured silhouettes. Television shows were a style playground. Shows like Dynasty, Designing Women, 227, Knots Landing, and The Cosby Show became cultural touchstones for glamour and high fashion. Dynasty, in particular, epitomized 80s opulence, showcasing characters like Crystal, Alexis, and Dominique in silk, velvet, tweeds, and furs. These fabrics symbolized wealth and power rather than relying on specific designer labels. It was all about the fabric you were wearing and where it was from. Their voluminous hairstyles and grandiose ensembles oozed old Hollywood glamour with a modern 80s twist. The fashion of Dynasty wasn't just about clothing, it was about creating a persona. Every time these women appeared on screen, they embodied luxury and dominance, making it clear that fashion was a language of status, self-expression, and power. The fashion left an indelible mark on the decades that followed after, shaping trends and inspiring individuality. Janet Jackson was a prime example of this and epitomized that perfect blend of feminine and masculine. Her signature key earring, that wasn't intended to spark a trend, was a functional item used for the cages to the animals the family had, and so that she wouldn't lose it. But because Janet was so stylish, many people would begin emulating her iconic key earring. Her Rhythm Nation ensemble also remains an iconic look, referenced and revered to this day. Madonna, another trailblazer of 80s fashion and ultimate fashion rebel, fused dark, edgy grunge with unabashed femininity. Her signature style included a red lip, layered chains, bustiers, fingerless gloves, and though she'd wear colors, her signature color was black. Girls everywhere mimicked her bold choices, even though many didn't approve of Madonna's rebellious music or style. The decade also celebrated fearless divas like Grace Jones, a queen of disco fashion. Grace symbolized rebellion and self-expression. Her wardrobe wasn't dictated by trends or expectations, but by her own mood and vision of what she wanted to wear and how she felt. She was bold, fierce, and vivacious. She personified everything the 80s stood for: creativity, confidence, and daring style.
Do what you feel when you feel like it, if you feel like it.
That may be to some people quite shocking.
What's shocking? To do what you feel when you feel like it, when you feel like it, if you feel like it.
I guess because
it's
people
just saying,
tend to
do what
categorise
you
things.
want. Do what you want. I do what I want. I don't put it in a category, and I don't make any comparisons, and I don't say I prefer one to this or one to that, because that's like saying, I'll never do this or I'll never do that, and one really doesn't know, do they? I mean, unless they're put into that situation, one never really knows what they're going to do. It's like you're saying, will you eat a cockroach if you're hungry? You can't say, can you?
Do you like shocking people? Can I ask you that?
Does that shock you?
Eating a cockroach?
Yeah,
Yes.
but if you were starving to death and that was the only thing around that would keep you alive, would you eat it?
Yes, I would.
So that's not shocking.
Meanwhile, Whitney Houston had become the voice of the generation, her big hair and even bigger voice dominating airwaves. Her effortless glamour further cemented the 80s as a golden era of music and style. The movies also helped to define this generation. The 80s weren't just about music, it was a cinematic renaissance. Films like The Breakfast Club, 16 Candles, Scarface, Heathers, She's Gotta Have It, Footloose, Dirty Dancing, and Fame reflected the dynamic energy of the time. These movies didn't just tell stories, they influenced fashion and made a cultural impact. The movies influenced the way people dressed and thought about fashion, from preppy chic to bright eye-catching neon colors. The big screen captured it all. The quality and craftsmanship were of impeccable quality. Unlike today's fast fashion landscape, the 80s prioritized craftsmanship and individuality. Designers were invested in their work, focusing on high-quality fabrics and tailoring that celebrated women's bodies. Clothes were built to last, and even the clothes that weren't expensive were made of good quality. Some women were also sewing their own looks and party outfits and costumes, a skill I think needs to be taught in school. In the 80s, having a sense of style mattered more than wearing high designer labels. Granted, women wore designer, but the fashion wasn't about flaunting your logos. It was about how you styled your pieces and carried yourself. The women dressed impeccably, they knew what worked for them, and also liked trying out new styles and trends. So the supermodels in the 80s didn't just walk the runway. They became cultural icons, setting trends and redefining beauty standards. Models were no longer just the faces behind designer collections. They were admired and emulated by millions of women and young girls who aspired to have their elegance, confidence, and undeniable glamour. This era gave birth to the term supermodel, as these fashion powerhouses transcended the industry and became celebrities in their own right. Icons like Iman, Cindy Crawford, Kim Alexis, Karen Alexander, Linda Evangelista, Marpeza Henning, and more broke barriers and set the stage for a new level of influence. They weren't just wearing the clothes, they were selling a lifestyle of luxury, sophistication, aspiration, and glam. Designers like Christian LaCroix, Claude Montana, known as the king of shoulder pads, and designing the aggressive silhouettes which became a part of the power dressing era in the 80s, Caroline Roem, Yves Saint Laurent, Oscar de la Renta, and Karl Lagerfeld, working with Chanel, understood the power of their presence, using the supermodels to embody the allure of high fashion. With their help, an era of luxury dressing and status symbols emerged, from bold statement-making designs to the rise of must-have accessories. These models and the brands they represented defined what it meant to be stylish and successful. Supermodels were no longer just part of the fashion world, they were the fashion world, shaping trends and inspiring a generation to embrace their own versions of glamour and elegance. The 80s also marked a transformative era for Black women who were more visible than ever before across music, film, and fashion. From iconic rap groups like Salt and Pepper to stars like Whitney Houston, Janet Jackson, Anita Baker, Donna Summers, Cherelle, Stephanie Mills, and we cannot forget about the incomparable, legendary Miss Tina Turner, who broke so many barriers for Black women.
Particular point in your life, you have proved to the naysayers in the record industry who like to believe there's no rock and roll over 40.
Yes.
Proved that you
Isn't that great?
You proved that. How do you feel about that?
I had a real hard time because I'm Black. In America, radio programmers don't program you as a Black person, rock and roll. You're R&B because of your color. That is something that has been and people are not aware of. Prince just bombarded his way through there. He's just said, I am, and you will accept me. Of course, he had to make some changes, like as a guy. But I had to prove it over the years. You know, this is the part coming in of like being a woman and being Black. I've been rock and roll all my life. I have stood with the rock and roll guys, and still they say, the radio programmer said, no, we cannot program her. She's R&B.
Because she's Black.
Because I'm Black. You have to go crossover R&B before you can make rock and roll. But I reversed it on them. My audience, the people, proclaimed me rock and roll, and so it was just forced. So it didn't matter what the radio stations were saying or were playing. It was selling pop. Everyone was buying it. It was just gone. That is how my claim to fame was, through my audience, through my work, through my persistence, because I am I have never even felt the urge to do, say, pop or jazz, or I'm just a wild person. You know, it's controllably wild, my attitude about it, but that is my soul. And so the comeback is like to say to all those people, not with blame, but just to say, wake up, accept talent, accept people not for the color, but for what they do.
Black women were owning the 80s just with their music alone, making all kinds of music from rap, R&B, dance, and pop. Black women were taking over, and the 90s would be a reflection of that takeover. The music alone had an impact on fashion and confidence. Donna Summer's She Works Hard for the Money, as well as Whitney Houston's I Wanna Dance with Somebody and Janet Jackson's Nasty, Black women were redefining representation. They weren't just seen, they were setting trends that would have a lasting impact. The big door knocker earrings, chunky chains, colorful sportswear, 8-ball jackets, acid wash denim, and oversized clothing. Their style was versatile, bold, and personal. Black women didn't just follow the trends, they created them, owning every room they stepped into with flair and confidence. Black women weren't just changing the game in music and film, they were shaking the entire fashion world. That fashion wasn't just about the clothes you wore, but your aura and not trying too hard, and proving that it wasn't just on you, but it was in you. And while my focus here on my channel is about women, we can't forget about the massive impact and influence Black men had on fashion. From bucket hats and rope chains to Run DMC's legendary partnership with Adidas, Black men were equally shaping the style narrative of the decade. Whatever we touched became the blueprint, proving time and time again that Black culture doesn't just follow trends, it defines them. Our influence is undeniable, and the 80s is a prime example of just how powerful that influence has always been. The 80s weren't just about high-end luxury brands. There were plenty of stylish, affordable options that were just as beloved among the youth and young women. Labels like Guess, Lacoste, Esprit, Benetton, Reebok, and Members Only were prominent in the 80s, offering something for everyone. Whether you leaned toward more flamboyant, colorful looks or preferred the clean-cut, preppy aesthetic, these brands had what you needed. They captured the decade's playful, dynamic spirit and delivered quality that stood the test of time. While many associate the 80s with neon, tutus, chunky scrunchies, and over-the-top accessories, the decade's fashion was far more versatile, as I've stated before. From edgy streetwear to polished prep and glamour girl, the options were endless, and it was an exciting time. The 80s were all about experimenting, expressing yourself, and finding what made you feel good. One thing's for sure though, the fashion of this era was anything but boring. It was fresh, fun, and full of girls with impeccable taste. And with that being said, this video has come to an end. I may do a part 2 to this video, but I'm not sure. Let me know in the comments below if you would like a part 2, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Don't forget to comment, like, share, and subscribe. Also, make sure your notification bells are turned on so that you always know when I upload. And I will catch you guys in the next one.